What?
Hi there, I'm Stephanie here with Michael. We're with Bug Tech, and it's another edition of Does It Bite?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great.
Good.
And today we're going to talk about pigeon perches. Okay, now pigeons don't bite, but it sure bites when pigeons decide they're going to live on your roof and in your eaves.
Yeah.
How's that?
It's horrible.
So we're going to talk about nuisance birds, especially pigeons.
Yeah.
So what are the types of issues that homeowners may have with pigeons?
So pigeons are what we call the rats of the sky.
Oh, gross.
They are very gross and nasty and
dirty birds.
Yeah.
They're the original dirty bird, aren't they?
Right. That's right. That's exactly right. They what makes them really gross is their feces that they leave everywhere. We do so many jobs, and it's like the thing that gets people to call us is the feces that they leave behind.
Yeah.
And that feces, they carry up to like 11 different zoonotic diseases that can affect humans. So, pigeons are, a major, major problem, especially here in the West Texas area.
Wow. Now, is this a year-round thing, or is it more of an issue in certain times of the year?
Year-round. All year round. I mean, we deal with a lot of pigeon work during the wintertime, do a lot of pigeon work during the summertime.
Okay.
So every year, every moment of every month, we're dealing with some kind of pigeon issue.
All right. Well, let's talk about what some of those issues are and how you can combat that.
Yeah. So a lot of our pigeon work tends to go more on the commercial side.
Okay.
Because pigeons at a home tend not to be there too long.
Okay.
Because if they become a problem, then the homeowner tends to shoo them away and things like that. So pigeons are very easily deterred from areas.
Oh, okay.
Easily deterred because they are a colony bird. So they like to flock together.
Okay.
So if one bird feels that this one area is not safe, it will let the other birds in the area know that's not a safe place to be.
So they don't have bird brains after all. There are some smart things about them.
They're extremely smart. They are extremely smart. And that's what makes them so hard to deal with, You think they'd be a bird brain. If they were a bird brain, they'd be so easy to deal with. I could take them out like that. But they're so smart.
So how come they don't stay in trees? They don't roost just in trees. What attracts them to buildings, to roofs, to vents?
Yeah. It's the ledges.
Okay.
They like to hang out on the ledges. They like to roost. It also depends on where their food source is.
Okay.
And also where their water source is. Pigeons are scavengers.
Okay.
So we see a lot of pigeons around like stores, bigger box stores.
Because people leave things in the parking lot, food and drinks.
That's exactly right. We see a lot around universities because the students have a lot of food. They just drop out on the floor, drop out on the ground. The universities have great places for them to roost, great places for them to nest. They have all these nooks and crannies that they can find. So those are the reasons why we see a lot more pigeon work in commercial applications than into residential applications.
So I have seen where different storefronts have those spiky little things on their signs or on their roof.
Yeah.
Now, how does that just keeps them from landing?
Those spiky things?
Those spiky things.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the official bug tech name for that?
Those are bird deterrent spikes.
Okay.
So what happens, birds like to roost. They like to just sit there, just poop and nest and all that stuff. And especially around here, we have a lot of 3D signs. So the 3D signs are the signs that come out.
Right.
And those are great places for birds to just sit there and roost in the sun, close to a food source. So as they do that, they are making a mess over everything. I mean, they're costing the property owner money with having to replace signs, replace bulbs, clean up the sidewalks, pressure washing, all this stuff. All that stuff adds up.
Right.
So what they do is that they put up these bird deterrent spikes.
Okay.
That is supposed to help keep the birds from landing on it. Now, they do work to a point.
Right.
We implement them. We use them. But we only use them, it's going back to knowing the pest.
Okay.
You have to know the pest that you're dealing with. So if the bird is already nesting in that area before we put the spikes up, the spikes usually won't work.
Okay.
Because pigeons have an amazing nesting, homing
instinct.
Yeah, to go back.
Right.
They want to go back to where their home was. So if you put bird spikes, you take the nest out and everything, and you put bird spikes up there, which is the problem that we ran into on our few last ones. They will come back and build their nest in the spikes.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
And we try to educate our customers on that. I'm looking at the sign that they want me to put bird spikes on. And I'm like, hey, they're nesting up there already. It's going to be extremely difficult to get those birds out of that. And if we do put spikes on there, they will probably build their nest in the spikes.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode of Does It Bite, please remember to like and subscribe. You know, we've had some folks that say do it anyway. Okay.
Well, and I would imagine that's the most economical way, but it's not the most effective.
Exactly.
So you've got some other methods, some other things that you do, and some of them are pretty new.
Yeah.
So tell us more about, I think it's really fascinating, some of the really humane ways that you're managing bird pest problems.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have great relationships with our vendors. Jeff with BirdX, he's one of my favorite vendors. And then we are partnered with a company out of Arizona.
Okay.
That we are doing some brand new technical bird deterrents. So what we really started to do was go back to deterring.
Okay.
To where we're not actually harming the bird. We're just trying to keep them away from the area.
Yeah, because you're not exterminating or poisoning or doing anything like that with birds.
Yeah, we're just trying to keep them away from the area.
Right.
So we use a lot of bird deflecting devices.
Okay.
So that is where we mess with their optical sight. So as they're flying in, we could put some deflectors up that will mimic a fire to the bird.
Interesting.
So it reflects the sun in a certain way. As the bird sees it, it'll mimic a fire. So the birds won't run towards it. We have some optical cups that mimic the same thing, and it has a smell to it.
What kind of a smell?
It's kind of like a grayfish type smell.
So smells impact a bird? Who would have thought?
They sure do. You have to know your
I don't see that they have a nose.
Yeah, I mean, Toucan Sam did.
I guess so.
Yeah,
a beaky nose.
Yeah. Just follow your nose. That's what Toucan Sam used to say. So you might be too young for that. But anyway, so we use optical, we use sound deterrent.
Okay.
Where it mimics a predator. Of the birds.
Now that makes sense.
Yeah, hawks, falcons, eagles, it mimics those sounds to keep the bird from the area. It also has distress calls. So distress as in, like, remember I said, birds are colony. They're a colony bird. So if there's a distressed bird in this one area, they won't go over there.
So now, wouldn't that be irritating for the humans? Like, is it loud or is it on a bird frequency? Like, am I going to hear that if it's on my roof?
Yeah, and sometimes you will.
Okay.
You know, we will do it to where the birds can hear it, but we want to make it sound natural.
Okay.
So that way you don't really notice it. It's just a naturally sounding bird.
Okay.
But I know some companies that will crank the sound up and it sounds like a tropical rainforest.
Oh,
and
wow.
You're like, what the world was that? You know?
I'm going to have to start listening to that.
But we don't want to do that because we don't want
the
it
pigeon. Natural.
Yeah, because the pigeon would be like, man, that's the biggest hawk I've ever heard in my life. And, you know, and they never see it. Then they realize, hey, there's a big hawk around here, you know? So we always want to make it natural sounding. We always want to adjust because, like I said, they're really smart.
Right.
So they'll notice that if that hawk that I keep hearing never shows up, then I'm good.
Right.
But if we keep alternating it and different things like that, so we do that. I mean, there's so many things we could do for pigeons.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Now, I did forget our new project. So we're working on a new project with a company out in Arizona. And we're going to try to deter the pigeons by using their directional, how they determine which direction they're flying. So what this device does, it as a bird is flying in to land, they have a protein in their eye that they use to know which direction that they're flying in.
How strange.
Yeah. So what we'll do is that this product creates an electromagnetic field. Okay. And that's how, our compasses, the birds know which direction they're flying, either north or south.
Okay.
So with the Earth's magnetic field.
Okay.
What this product does, it creates its own electromagnetic field.
Okay.
So as the bird is flying in, this product is actually switching that magnetic field. So they're switching from north to south, and this is always
super confusing.
It's just doing that, right? So as the bird is flying in, it's doing this to them, and they feel it, and they get vertigo, and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to be here because I'm getting sick and woozy," and they fly off.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, so we are working with them to start implementing that here in West Texas. So that's going to be a really cool product.
Yeah, who would have ever thought that birds would be such an economical nuisance and a health nuisance?
Yes.
Especially out in West Texas.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because we don't have enough trees.
Yeah,
so that's what it is. They're landing on the buildings.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be it.
But they are common, and I'm glad to know that there's some solutions that are humane and affordable and smart.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk all day about birds. I'm telling you, we can talk all day.
Well, I'm going to fly away with that, Michael, because we are out of time. But thanks for joining us on Does It Bite? And we'll see you next time.
If you enjoyed this episode, check out more Does It Bite?